In 433, there is a problem that tells you 3 pounds of gummy bears cost, and it doesn't tell you how much. So you're going to want to go and write in there, those 3 pounds of gummy bears cost $4. That was my bad, my typo. So 433, we need to fill in that missing information there. Is it gummy bunnies instead of gummy bears?
Gummy something.
Gummy.
It is on the back, 118. 118. Sorry, it's gummy bunnies. So on the back, on 118, this is good because now that we're recording, our friend's playing along at home. And also on my answer key, because what I took with me on my trip was just the printed homework. I couldn't do this problem, right? If you don't know this information, we can't do that problem. So that's why on my answer key it was skipped. 3 pounds should be selling for $4. Fix that typo. Right. All right, and then we'll check that tomorrow. So try to finish that tonight. Does not need to be finished today. We'll check that tomorrow. Yeah, no other homework this week. If we get to it, we'll start Jenga today. If we get to it. What do you always need out? Graph paper. If you haven't gotten that out yet, you have a moment to do so because I have a new thing to entertain you with called They Did Not Do the Math. So, I'm always looking to make side money because, you know, no big secret to anybody, teachers get paid the most of anyone.
Did you get paid more than like half?
We should, but we don't. So we don't get paid a lot, so I'm always looking for opportunities to make side money. My buddy John, what? Sure, you don't have to ask. My buddy John calls me up because, hey, do you want to move a bunch of gravel? My neighbor's pay. Can I help you guys? Okay, that's fine, but I can't focus when y'all are talking at the same time as me. It feels rude that I'm talking over you. And maybe it's the other way around, but I'm trying not to make you feel bad right now. Can we finish up our side conversation so I can do what I'm supposed to do and we can get to Jenga? Sorry, it's just distracting, right? Like, I gotta do what I gotta do. So, I get called over to my friend's house. Well, I volunteer to go over and get paid a little bit of money to do this. We move all this gravel where his shed is gonna get delivered. However, he didn't do the math, and that's how much gravel he has left over sitting in his driveway. So this is why I teach you guys the stuff I teach you. The problem is if he goes to measure this space, he's probably measuring in like feet and or inches. And when you go to order stuff like gravel or mulch or whatever, you order it in cubic yards. Don't know who decided that, but you order in cubic yards, which if you imagine a cube that is 1 yard by 1 yard by 1 yard, how many feet are in a yard? 3. So what's 3 feet times 3 feet times 3 feet? 27. A cubic yard gives you 27 cubic squares. It's a lot. A cubic yard is a lot. He ordered way too much. So, fortunately, he's like, oh, I've got some other places I can drop this stuff, or I'll tell the neighbors to come over and fill a truck with gravel. Like, he'll get rid of it, but he did not do the math. All right, so we can't go back. Sorry, Raphael. That's a waste of time. All right, moving on. On your graph paper, we're gonna copy. At least I don't think I put these on your handout paper because our handout paper was kind of full. I'm gonna double check though before I make us copy things. 433. Nope, this is not on our handout, so we're gonna have to copy these. We're going to copy these down and simplify these expressions. Now, if you would like to grab algebra tiles, some of our tables still have algebra tiles sitting at them, but I had asked the other class to put them away at the end of last week. If you want algebra tiles, come grab them. Otherwise, on your graph paper, we are copying these expressions and simplifying any way we can. So like we did last week, we're cleaning stuff up, we're putting things together. We're going to cancel out zeros if we can. Whatever you can put together, put it together. Questions? I get it that it's a Monday morning, but if we get through like 3 problems that I need us to do, we can like break into teams and start playing Jenga. And we can just have a pretty fun week. Like not much homework, that's for sure. All right, take a couple minutes. I'm going to flip my 5-minute timer because I often don't give you enough time. But I should see people copying right now, maybe highlighting. Maybe I'll chop it up and make it a little bigger because I know some of us have some vision issues. Oh, also, I'm ready to announce who won for this week. It's in this binder, but I'm not doing that until we get through the class stuff we need to get through. So, because it's either going to make you happy or sad, right? And either way, we need to get through what we need to get through first. Addie? Yes, thank you for asking. So, for example, if Addie asked for help with A over there, we might look at it and start highlighting to kind of sort through what types of terms we have. So, -1. Does that involve a variable? No. So we call that type of term a constant. It is what it is. That's all it is. -4x. Is that a constant? Yeah. Well, yeah, now I asked a different question. Now we do involve a variable, right? So I would give that a different color if I was going to use highlighters. 2 does not have a variable. 2x does, and so does x. So when I go to rewrite A, because I copied this on my paper and then maybe I highlighted it, if you're doing nothing, that is your choice, but our test later in the week might be slightly more difficult for you. So if I go to write down what I have with A cleaned up, let's look at the variables first. We just often talk about the variables first for whatever reason. What do I have right here with 2x plus another x? We got 3 x's there, really. And then with the -4x, if I visualize moving this stuff around on our algebra mat, like we had last week, if you have -4x, +3x, who can tell me what happens? Lindy? Yeah, we make zeros, right? That's what we were doing. We were making zeros. What would you have left? Yeah, we'd have a negative left over because we have 1 extra negative. So we'd have -1x when I combine all of those x values. And then +2, -1, we'd have a +1 left over. Now, if we don't remember that, right, if this is like, wait, what? Grab your algebra tiles, set it up, right? So -1, ba-doom. -4x. And I don't have my expression mat right here, but I can just use my desk and say if it's off the camera, then it's gone. -1, -4x, +2. If this does make sense to you, go ahead and keep rolling. 2x and x. All right, so for A, if I lay it out like we did last week, -1, -4x's, or 4 negative x's, +2, +2x, +x, right? Just like we did last week. Then, what math property says I can move numbers around in commutative? Because to move, commute. So I use the commutative property to move some things around. And like what Lindy said, every time I have a positive and a negative, whoosh, gone, gone, gone. I can do it again with the 1s, gone. And now we're left with a -1, a negative x, one of them, right? And a positive 1. Questions? Keep going with B, C, and D. Now, these partial ones, I don't know if we have 2.5x. Like, that's going to be a little hard to show on the desk. So B and D might be the toughest ones here. Let's do C next. If you're in the middle of B or D, let's jump over to C. Do C. Hang on to it, show off. Yeah, I have to invite you to participate, and then you're done before anybody else. X squareds now. Yeah.
You have staples and paper has this drawn a diagram. Terrifying.
You don't have to do this with tiles if it makes sense when you just write it down, but you can if you want to.
You're close. Look back at your and see what you missed.
Sorry that my negative x squared is kind of turned sideways. I wrote on some of my tiles. You can, if you really want to, just make sure that what you write is correct. Let's start using random cards to let other people than just Ivan get a chance to help me out with this. Ivan's like, I'm just going to take a nap. I know what's going on up here. All right, Misk, what could I do?
So it's for C, right?
For C. Yep. Because this is your C.
You could do 3x.
So again, if I group these together, what essentially happens? Look up here. On your homework, that's due Friday, but really you should have done by tomorrow. When you're asked to show what happens, you circle the opposite tiles and just draw like an arrow saying, yep, get out of here. That's how we show it on our paper because you can't actually move the tiles. Okay, when you're asked to show it, circle them, draw an arrow out. So Misk said we can do that twice really. So how many x squareds do I have left now in positive or negative? Misk? Well, okay, so everybody, I guess. 1x squared, absolutely. I don't need that one, but if I'm going to write it, I normally make it kind of fancy just so I know it's a 1 and not like the absolute value bar on the green poster, which we'll learn more about. We've learned some, but we'll keep practicing it. Lily, what about my 1? Or not my 1s, my x's? What can we do with our x's to clean them up? How many? Yeah, so 4 zeros, right? So Lily's saying we could honestly just say, okay, positive 4, negative 4, all of these. And what are we left with? 1x. Yeah, careful. Don't just, it is just 1, but it's 1x. Questions? So now it gets to the point where we might not use tiles. Keegan? Did you get the same answer? Okay, let me come work with you. How about that? Try C and D. If you haven't gotten there yet, do C and D. That doesn't. That does not work. So this is not saying 3 squared. It's saying 3 of the value x squared. So you applied the exponents like they would be applied. But the thing is, this is x squared. It is 1 of them. So when they say 3x squared, really what we can visualize is there are parentheses. They don't want to use red, is that what you got? There are
Oh, I meant
parentheses there saying 3 times the quantity of x squared. So we have that 3 times. Not 3 squared of x squared. It's just 3 of x squared. Does that make sense? So that's just 3. That's just negative 2. Yeah, you just did 2 times. You're like Ivan over here trying to show off. You're like, look, I understand exponents. I can do 3 squared. Ha ha. So,
This right here is hard. So it's 4, a whole 4.
So x squared and x's are 2 different times. So I remember you being sick last week, and depending on when you were sick, like you're going to need to go watch the video, probably make this make sense. X squareds, x's. X squareds are not the same as x's. We cannot put them together. I mean, we can group them together, but we can't count them together because they're different. This is your pizza, and this is your brother's pizza, and you're like, I want my pizza because it's bigger. Your brother's like, no, let's just put it all together. And you're like, no, they're not the same. Right, or anything like that, where like one is not the same as the other. So we start with 3x squareds, and then negative 2x squareds. Every time you have opposites, they make zeros. So that's what we start with. And 5 x's are different. So that's 8's, right? 5 x's and 4 negative x's, and none of the 1 tiles, right? So 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, all were left with unpaired and not moving zeros. Does that make sense? Yeah, they're non-like terms. Guys, the questions we're getting as we walk around are fantastic. They're like the best questions to avoid these mistakes on the test, which is in 2 days. So in B, all we can really do is the work on our paper. June, what in B can go to, can I put the 2.5x with the 4? No, because they're not like terms. Can I put the 2.5x with anything? Yeah.
But yes, you can.
June, I hear your voice coming from over
You
here.
can put it with 3.
So you can put it with the 3x, and remember to look at the sign in front. So they are both positive. What's 2.5x plus 3x going to give us? 5.5x.
I mean, yeah, 5.5x.
And then, Christian, can anything else go together?
The 4 plus the negative 3.25.
Yeah, and what are we going to get from that?
0.75.
Questions on C. Or B. Don't trust me. It's a Monday. Nope, because the positive is bigger. The positive is bigger, right? 4 is bigger than 3.25. The positive is bigger. Make sense? Make sense now? Okay. All right, in D, Miss. In what? In D? Okay, good, because we're about to talk about that. Go ahead.
It says 4.5x, and then there's a positive x over there. What is x like? How would we put that together? Would it?
So Misk is asking a fantastic question. How many x's is this? 1, Margot?
It's 1x.
Thank you, 1, Margot. This. This.
What's the girl's name?
Dawson.
Yeah, Dawson.
This is 1x, like 1 Margot told me. Because it's awkward if I keep saying 1 Margot or 1 Ivan or 1 Jana or 1 Misk. That's weird. Because if I just say Margot, we assume I'm talking about just 1. Now, if both Margos were in my room at the same time, I might need to say 2 Margos or maybe even 3. But if I just say Margot, we're talking about 1. So any just x is 1x, meaning when we combine these, what do we get? 5.5x. And then careful, what's this number? What, Gabe? No, say what you said first. This is -6. Saying minus is silly. I've been trying to brainwash you for the past 5 months. Some of you, it has worked. That's -6. Saying minus is dumb. Sorry, that's not a word I should use. That's definitely. But guys, subtraction is a bad thing to learn. It's not. It's like that's a negative action. It's a negative value. Who's bigger here, the positive or the negative? The negative. How much bigger is 6 compared to 5 1/3? By 2/3. So we will also have -2/3. You can write it like subtraction if you want to be silly, but that's my advice. It's not right versus wrong, but I'm telling you, it will help you to train your brain. If you're sitting and doing nothing, if you're just staring, that's a poor choice. We have a test this week. You can use your notes. This is exactly the stuff that's on your test. Like identical, not just different numbers. Same thing you're being asked to do.
Oh wait, is it the results? Did we lose?
Miss is like
She's so ready.
I had a feeling.
Hey, put your pencils down. Open your ears. Look up here, because a lot of you are doing this wrong, and now it matters that we're getting to the point of the test. When you're being asked about the properties, what you're being asked is between a step and a step. Like this is really the step. Between what you wrote and what you wrote is what you did. So what they're asking us is from here to here, what happened? What property did we apply? So when you're answering questions like this, what you need to ask yourself is, did numbers move around? That's commutative properties. Did we group things, which is the associative, which to be funny, I taught as the butt cheek property, but it's associating, right? We're associating, we're grouping. Or did I distribute multiplication? That's in our vocabulary now too. So here, between this step and this step, I'll take volunteer. Can anyone see what happened and what we would call it? Gabe?
Okay, so the 18 and the -2x have switched places. So that would be commutative.
Absolutely. That would be commutative property. You can write this down if you want. You don't need to. I just really want your attention. Between this step and this step, I'm only coming over here so I have more space. Oh. All they put together. What can we call putting together? Combine. Like, guys, the associate, this is why I taught it to you as butt cheek property. There's no parentheses here. We're not grouping. We put together. It's done, right? So the associate is when we write it with the parentheses. That's not what's happening here. This is just combined like terms. This isn't a property. You could even just call that simplified. Say it louder, slower, and explain it. You're absolutely right, but I want everyone to hear it.
The associative property would be in D from the first one to the second one.
Explain.
The parentheses were around the 3x and the plus the 4, and then it was moved to the 4 and the 6.
And why are we changing what's grouped together? So we can do it, right? You can't do this. You can't do it. You can do that. And then we do, and we get 3x and -2. What happened here? The numbers switched places. What property moves numbers? Commutative. And then combine like terms. What happened up here? Ivan?
You can do 4x minus 8
They did that. What is that?
8x
Yeah, but what property? Jana's got you if you need help. What property, Jana? That's our distributive, when multiplication gets split up. Distributive is multiplication when it's broken apart, right? So guys, exactly what Ivan said, you can't add these, but can I double both of them? Yes. That's distributive property. And then they combine, like, really, there should have been another step in between here, but they skipped it. As we get better, we can start skipping steps, as long as you don't make mistakes. Once you start making too many mistakes, then it's a problem. Sweet. I feel like we should probably have a drum roll.
No. Yeah. I think so. Oh.
You're gonna stop there? That was well
Supposed to be 81, 82.
Not good.
You know it's not zero. You can't even hear it. So you guys got it. Finally. So this is yours. Okay. Here's what this means. Here's what this means. You all, because I still need to make a little tag, because I needed like 2 more minutes this morning. So you all have 3 victories versus accelerated 7/8 2 victories. And we still have this week. Here's what's important. What is due on Friday is, no, hold on, 433 and the foreclosure, but this is going to get done in class. Guess what? A lot of accelerated people didn't turn in the closure because they just forgot because we did it in class. They dropped the ball. They had an easier shot at winning last week, and you guys killed it. You guys did a great to 90%. It's pretty darn high.
That's awesome.
Dan?
So, since we've been like this, is it coming to me or am I just like,
So,
one more?
if
This is our last week and
If-
then this week.
If you or 1B win this week, those 2 assignments, it's over. You win. If Accelerated pulls out a win, where are we at then?
High.
High.
Oh.
So it's not over. So how motivated do you think they're going to be?
Very.
Pretty darn motivated.
Come on, you guys. We gotta
So,
do
the
this.
next 7 minutes is yours to work on 433. Work on 433. Keegan's like, you're giving us time to do homework. The face you just made was really funny. You're like, what? It was like a bad smell almost. Help each other out, friends.
Work together. Oh, Jenna. Are we gonna do the same like next week?
Same what?
Like she said, are we gonna do the drum roll?
Well, if you guys had lost, that would have been a little bit mean of me.
Oh yeah.
I only did that because you won.
Okay, but if we win next week, do it. yes, Christian, yes, I do.
It's the most terrifying
Hey,
on this earth.
So on the flip side of that, if you know you're part of the 10% of missing work, do better, right? Do something to do better. Make some kind of change to do better. Also, now my video is probably going to get flagged thanks to playing Queen, but whatever. Now we can stop recording.